Hi, it's Gab, back with
Max.
And we're reviewing Tron Legacy, which is the new Tron film, obviously. Sort of a sequel, really a sequel to the first original Tron, which was from when I was a kid, long time ago. And this one continues the story in a pretty interesting way, but of course the main thing is the visual effects, which Tron is all about, are a lot different now, a lot more modernized. So it's kind of old and kind of new. Why don't you tell us about Tron?
Well, the first one, it's about this guy that tries to hack into this company, and then when he goes in the company, and then he gets sucked in from this machine in like a computer, and then he has to play lots of games and defeat bad guys.
Yeah, he's like really in there.
Yeah.
And so then in the new movie...
Well, it's that guy's son, which is the main character, and when his son was a little kid, his father disappeared, and now the kid's older, and then he finds his dad's lab-ish area in his old video game place. Then he gets sucked in, and then he also has to play lots of games and defeat bad guys.
Like what happened to his dad.
Yeah.
So it's like he's sort of going, the son, Sam, is sort of continuing, he ends up in the same position that his dad was in, and he also finds his dad in there.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a spoiler. The dad being Jeff Bridges, of course, the star of the original one, and he's a big role in this one too. He's the father of the main, the younger character. So, I mean, pretty quickly the movie jumps into that whole world again. There's just a little bit of setup in the beginning. So were you confused at all, or you understood?
I understood.
Now, if we hadn't watched the first one, we watched the first one the night before, would you have been confused about what was going on in the new one?
Kind of. And about all the characters.
Yeah.
But now I know, all the characters.
Yeah. I think it's kind of important, if you really care about understanding the characters and the story, in that sense, to see the first one. On the other hand, it's just really cool to look at. So if you just want to go and have a visual experience and just sort of figure the story out for yourself, you could do that too. So what did you think about how it looked and what was going on?
I think it looked really good.
A lot different than the first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of CGI, of course, in this one. In the original, the effects were pretty sort of groundbreaking, and it was a lot of animation, but, I mean, we've come a long way, obviously. And this was in 3D, too. So this is really all about the boing, what it's doing to your eyes, and it does look very cool. Although I have to say, by now, we've seen previews. Dad and I got to see the Tron Night preview, so we saw 20 minutes of footage. Even if you've just seen the trailer, you've kind of seen how cool it looks. You've already sort of seen that, and so I didn't feel like there was anything a lot more amazing that I hadn't already knew that I was going to see. There's more of it, but there's nothing very different to me than what you've already seen in the trailer and that sort of thing. Except that it's in 3D. What did you think of the 3D?
I think the 3D was good.
You like 3D. I think I might be one of those people it doesn't really work for. I don't know. I always expect it to be more Shazam, and then I sort of find myself looking to tell if it's in 3D or not. There was just one part where I was like, boing. I mean, it looks really, really good. I do like the way it looked. What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was when they're on the motorcycles.
Yeah, there's the cool racing scene. Right?
Yeah.
There was a scene like that in the first one, but everything looks better in this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does, for sure. And the battles with the discs.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff.
Like
the action looked really good.
Discs.
But you said your worst part, you said to me, was that you wanted more battles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially, kids these days are going to want a lot of action, and there is a fair amount of action. But again, like the first one, there's also a lot of sort of talking, philosophizing about what's going on in this virtual world, which is a battle between basically good and evil. Clue is running the whole show. And who's Clue? That's important.
Clue is the son's dad's program.
Right, the original Flynn's program, who was a good guy, and Tron, the program Tron, who were good guys. I hope this isn't a spoiler. They've sort of turned bad. They've gotten all this power has gone to their heads, and they're running this place, and they're bad. And so basically, the son and his father want to sort of free all the enslaved programs,
Yeah.
and they want to get out themselves too. So they're like a team, and that's kind of neat. My favorite part was seeing so much Jeff Bridges. I thought it was more of a cameo situation, but Jeff Bridges plays his main character Flynn as the older guy, and they also use the CGI to have a lot of the younger looking dad, Jeff Bridges, who's the bad program, the bad guy, and is really kind of amazing, seeing all of this young Jeff Bridges in this movie, even though it's CGI. It's a bit creepy and weird too, but it's also kind of neat. I can't make up my mind quite if I'm totally happy with it, but definitely you can see the future of movies where they can just basically create younger actors and do anything they want. And that was probably my favorite part, just watching what they did with the younger Jeff Bridges. And the action. So your worst part was you wanted more action, but anything else? Anything scary? Anything sad? Anything you're worried kids will not like?
Well, nothing was really scary.
No, I don't think so.
There's one kind
No
of...
blood.
No blood.
When they get hurt, they just sort of break into pieces like glass almost.
Yeah.
And sorry, one part...
There's one worst part at the end.
Bit sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil it, right? Remember what spoilers are? We don't want to tell them things that they want to see for themselves. So there is something a bit sad at the end. But mostly it's just fun. Did you care about the characters? And what was happening?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I like the girl character. I think she's sort of a nice female, tough but also sweet. And it's nice to see some good female characters in these movies too. But mainly it's about how it looks. So what do you think compared to other kinds of movies, and you play a lot of video games, did it really blow your mind the way it looked, or was it just, okay? Or somewhere in between?
Somewhere in between.
In between blowed your mind and, okay. So how many maxes would you give it?
I'd give it around maybe 5 or 4.
5 or 4. Well, 5 means it's perfect. So would you give it 5 maxes? You can give in between. You can give 4.5, 4 1/4, 4 3/4. Now we're turning into a math lesson here. Well, I would give it, this is hard. I think I'd only give it 3. Because even though it looked really cool, and it wasn't terrible, the story or the acting, it's okay the way that they took over from the first one. At the end of the day, for me, the story wasn't very interesting. It wasn't even very modern in a strange way, and the characters were kind of flat, except for the Jeff Bridges element. Jeff Bridges is great. So am I going to remember this movie in a week or even a day? Not so much. So it looked great. Even that let me down a little bit. After a while, it's like, yeah. I thought it was too long, too, but that's because I'm old. Anyway, so I think I'd give it 3 Gabs. So you're going with 4? Just want to make sure that we get this right. 4 maxes. So Tron Legacy, check it out. For sure if you loved the first one, or if you're just interested in seeing something that looks really cool, and if you like video games, right? Maybe Santa will be bringing you guys some video games. So have a happy holidays. If you don't see them before Christmas, why don't you say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Okay. Merry Christmas.